if you're reluctant to niche down, ask yourself, what's more important to you? Is it more important for everyone on the internet to know all parts of who you are as an individual, or do you want to be a paid influencer with a massive following?
This is the Good Influencer Podcast with Julia Markham and Becca McLeod, pulling back the curtain of how this multi-billion-dollar industry works. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.
Welcome to the Good Influencer Podcast. If you're going to be an influencer, be a paid one.
And if you didn't watch the last episode, that's your sign to go watch it.
I'm on cloud 9 today because I've been in kind of an engagement slump. And last night I was like, I need a reel to hit where they've been just puttering. Nothing's like a great big hit. So yesterday I worked with Andy, who's our media manager, and she helped me put together this reel. Guess what? We followed the formula that works. And this morning I woke up and it's at like 750,000 already. And I know it's going to hit 1 million. And we already have followers coming in. And it was such a good reminder to me that it's so great to put out content that you feel proud of and that speaks to you. And then you can also just follow the formula and hit it out of the park. And that feels good too. I needed a win. We got a win. I'm on cloud 9.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. That really is the best feeling when you've been in an engagement slump and then it just kind of something hits. But I'm so glad you brought this up because I have not been able to stop thinking about the other day in office hours. Someone was like, what are we all doing about the engagement slump right now? I was like, you know what? Engagement looks so different for every person. Like us right now, our engagement is really high. Yes, engagement compared to years ago is down across the board, but ours is really high right now and it's going to look different for every person. And, you can't control the algorithm, but you can control how you are pivoting your content to make it hit and make things that perform really well. Well, that night I posted a reel and it tanked. So I think that was karma coming to get me. But you're so true. It's like if your engagement is low, go back to basics, go back to what you know is going to work, and kind of nurse it back to health.
Yeah, I needed a win. We got it. And there is like a formula. Even like Andy was like, we're going catchy with the tune. I'm like, okay, we're going catchy with the tune. I had to make that compromise. I usually am like, I don't want it to be like super popular. I love Role Models Sally's song. I love it. I use
Yeah.
it after we got to use it.
Hey, everyone go take a look at it. It was outdoors. Outdoors always performs well. People love the
Yes.
pool.
Yeah.
If you have something that hits and your engagement is low, go back to what works. I had a mentorship call the other day with the sweetest influencer. I really loved her. I was kind of giving her some guidance. She's like, I know I should be doing all these things, but I really needed you to give me permission because I felt like I shouldn't really take this seriously until I hit 10,000 followers, which I think is really common. But I looked up the other day, 77% of brand partnerships happened with micro influencers. Brands are looking for micro influencers. So if you're not taking this seriously until you hit 10K, you are missing out on working with brands who want to work with people starting at 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 followers.
Yeah.
Why is it so important that influencers treat this like a business from day one?
Well, like you just said, micro influencers are what a lot of brands are looking for, especially a lot of small brands. There's the mega brands that have the mega bucks, but then there's millions of more small brands that have a lot smaller budgets that are looking for micro influencers to create content for them. And then they're going to even pay you more to use that content for ads for them. It's less expensive for them to have a creator create what we call UGC content, which is user generated content. And then they pay that creator to use their content as an ad. That's way less expensive for them than hiring a whole team or marketing team or videographer or set to produce this content that's not going to hit the same. And so it's so exciting to see these micro influencers that have less than 10,000 followers create content and get paid for doing it. Why you have to start treating it seriously from the very beginning is because these brands are looking, they're scouting, and you have to be mindful of the content that you're creating. Is it aesthetic? Is it something that is like good quality? Because obviously they're going to be looking for someone that can create high quality things for them? Is it engaging? It doesn't even matter anymore how many followers you have. You can put something out on social media if you have 2,000 followers and it can go viral. And so they're looking for someone that can just create content. And also, is your presence online something that they feel comfortable aligning themselves with? Or is it a little bit watered down with things that maybe aren't within your niche? Do you show your kids a ton and that's not your niche? Are you constantly talking about politics and that's not your niche? Are you swearing a lot? It's hard for brands to align with creators that are constantly swearing. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry because this is my job. Like, I want you to succeed on this, and it's difficult for brands to take a risk and hire you when they're not sure what's going to be coming out of your mouth. The average micro influencer makes 100,000 plus per year, according to the top 3 influencer agencies. So the money's out there. And if
Yeah.
you have a small following, don't count yourself out because like
And
you
don't think that's a reason you shouldn't be paid.
Oh my goodness, no. Step 1, if you are signing a contract with a company, I don't care if you have 1,000 followers, you should be paid for that. It might be 50
Yeah.
bucks, but the brand needs to pay you for that.
And if you are going to do a product trade where you're getting product instead of payment, you need to ensure that your rates are set so that the brand understands the level of products that they need to give you to equal or exceed the cost of that deliverable. We usually recommend doing 2 to 3 product trades just to kind of get that experience under your belt. But that doesn't mean you're accepting a $20 product for 3 reels and a story set. It means that you have your media kit, you have your rate set, you're sending it to the brand, and they're sending you product instead of payment. But that it needs to still be a fair trade.
But I will put an asterisk on that and say if they in turn then want to use the content that you created for paid advertisement for them, that costs,
Yeah,
period. You should never ever trade for that.
so true. Because it may be a $100 product, but wholesale, what did it really cost them to make?
$1.
That's all I'm going to say. $1. So don't count yourself out. If you don't have 10,000 followers, look for ways to start treating this as a business. Also, get started with affiliates. Amazon, ShopMy, like those are platforms you don't need a lot of followers to start out on. I think LTK, they might have raised their follower threshold to 5,000 is what I'm hearing.
Mm.
But don't wait to start sharing affiliates until you hit 10,000.
And I know some people, and you said, maybe they recently raised the ceiling on that, but they are really big on aesthetics. They'll look at your account and say, oh, this is someone aesthetic, they're in. And so that matters.
It matters also on a call with them. They told me, we always say, like, you need to show up in your content. People follow people, not pages. LTK will not accept you if they don't see you in your content often. There has to be a clear and present owner and creator. And so if there is not a person in your content, you are not likely to be accepted to LTK. Just a heads up.
Another reason to show up.
Another reason, Julia, you mentioned niches, and we actually just had our niche workshop for Race to 10K, which is like one of the biggest days. People can comment kind of what they're thinking their niche is, and then we help them to get more specific. Historically, people are very reluctant to niche down.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always said niching down is a business decision. Can you elaborate on that more and like where that comes from?
When you niche down, that's when you become known for something. If you don't niche down, that's just a regular person. Now, a lot of times people will niche down on a specific, let's take a TikToker, for example. They'll niche down on a very specific thing that they do over and over. I've seen guys like blow up on TikTok from doing the same dance to the same song in a different setting on a different day. And they become like, this is that person that dances. Those 2 cute best friends, they niched down to the point where they like makeup dances, wearing hoodies and sunglasses. So niche down, and they blown up. If they were just, let's say that they occasionally did dances and then occasionally went out with their friends and shared, that account is not going to grow as rapidly because When people find something that they like, they want more of that thing. Show me how to do this more. Oh my goodness, you are a creator that's showing how to style for women over 50 that's a size 14. There's a lot of women who are over 50 that are a size 14 that want to see what you're saying. People are not only going to flock to you, but they're going to become so loyal and invested, and you're going to explode. So the importance of niching down is because you're going to become known for something, and that is something that people can depend on, look to. You don't need everyone in the world to follow you. You just want to be known for this one thing. The important phrase there is to be known for. And so let's take me, for example. When I was like growing my audience big time, I was sharing a lot of stuff on my Instagram. It was honestly just my Instagram. I just treated it like everyone else was treating Instagram, where
It was a personal page.
it was a personal page, but I was also sharing fixing up our apartment on it. But then I would share like, oh, and I went to my sister's wedding. Oh, and here's me in the car with my girls. And I was just like sharing everything. And I did not start my rapid growth until I niched down, until I said, okay, I'm not going to be showing me at a wedding anymore. I'm not going to show my kids anymore. Your niche can grow with you and change. Okay. That's one thing. You are not locked in to this. You can gradually shift as you evolve as a human. And so in the beginning, my niche was DIY on an apartment. And there was a lot of like duping things. So like I would see this string light or these anthropology letters, and like I would try to create it. There was lots of like DIY crafty things. And then we bought our first house, and my niche was first time homeowners, husband and wife, starter home. And we DIY'd everything. And then, it has shifted as I've evolved and grown up. I mean, I've been doing this for 16 years. Now I am in the home renovation space. And when people like say, oh, I miss when you used to do DIYs, it doesn't mean I don't do DIYs anymore, but that's not my niche. I've found that in my age group, almost 40, are not doing it themselves. They are looking to hiring contractors. And guess what? There's not a lot of information on there about working with contractors. So I educate a lot about what it's like to work with contractors. What do I have to do to be prepared to do that? Which part am I playing in that? How do I plan for this? How do I gather inspiration? How do I execute this whole thing as a husband and wife duo? How do we communicate with each other? What if he likes something that I don't like? And we have, a family. And a big part of our story now is also we're in North Carolina. Your location can be a part of your niche. Who your audience is can be a part of your niche. What you want to be known for can be a part of your niche. It can be your aesthetic, moody, modern, traditional. If you are trying to figure out what your niche is, ask yourself these questions, fill in these blanks. I do this for these people so that they can blank thing that they need. So I do this for these people so that they can what? Fill in those blanks. And that's how you're going to find your niche, and then even niche down farther. There's just so many ways that you can make your mark online, but the point is to make your mark and to be known for something.
And, 16 years ago, you could niche into DIY, you could niche into lifestyle, but that's really not the case anymore. In 2025, like, what does niching down effectively look like to you?
It could be a segment. I always say, like, definitely define who you are and what you're doing and for who so that they can what. And then also think of like a weekly segment that you can do that really leans into your niche, beauty influencers. And you can see this a lot, how they niche down. Some of them are always lip singing to songs as they do their makeup. Some are really big on transitions. Some talk to you the whole time through it. And there's so many that you really have to define yourself and do something different to stand out now. You can't just say, oh, I'm in the home niche. There's too many. Are you a renter? Are you a buyer? Are you a landlord? Are you an Airbnb-er? What part of the country are you in? Tell your story and spell it out really clearly. And you don't have to try to be something that you're not. You should just really be your true self and make it different than anyone else. Becca and I love chatting with you every week, but in between the podcast episodes, we're hanging out in our influencer mastermind. With a good influencer subscription, you get access to our exclusive course library designed to help you build your business as an influencer and our mastermind forum on Facebook. This is your place to ask questions, network, and workshop. Here you can receive feedback from thousands of other influencers and our team. Listeners get 30% off their monthly subscription by using the code PODCAST at checkout. See you in the mastermind.
I'm so glad you said that because, I talk to some influencers who are like, my niche is DIY, but I don't really DIY. So I have to like schedule in these projects. And if your niche is not a natural part of your everyday, I don't think it makes sense. Why would you build a business around something that isn't something you love and you're passionate about and is organic to your everyday? It's going to be impossible to create content.
If your niche isn't something that you have time to do every day, then that's not a niche, that's a hobby. If you like golfing, good for you. That doesn't mean that's your niche unless you're doing it every day. Like, make it easier
You
on
can't
yourself.
just say, well, I feel like I really love how my home looks, so I'm going to start sharing about that as an influencer. Or I really like how my fashion looks, so I'm going to start sharing about that as an influencer. You have to have some sort of unique take to share because there is too much competition out there. I remember back in college, we had this guest speaker come talk to us about advertising. And he said, if you can look around and you see 3 other businesses or 3 other products that are exactly the same as yours, don't do it. You need to find something else to go into because there's already too much competition there. And if you can look at your page and say, yeah, there's 1,000 other influencers doing the same thing, it's time to niche down more.
Yeah, that doesn't mean, oh, I can't be a home influencer because there's 1,000 other home influencers. It means, how are you carving out your space? What makes you uniquely you? Lean into that. And I think that's something that I kind of struggle with, where I see people in my niche do something that I had on the calendar and I'm like, great, now I can't do that. Wrong. My audience hasn't seen my take on this. Still do it. Because it's going to be unique because it's you.
I think people kind of call our bluff on the importance of niching down. And there's influencers I've worked with for years who are so reluctant to niche down. And, maybe 1 or 2 years go by and then they finally niche down and they start to grow. And I got this message in the mastermind and I felt like it was such a mic drop that I have to share it. This is like in regards to Race to 10K. And the very first thing we do is help you niche down because it's the foundation of everything you share. And she said, I'm noticing a trend with those on here struggling to niche down, and especially those that want to be a lifestyle influencer, which, side note, is notoriously hard to grow in because you're sharing about everything. It's not niche specific enough. I remember feeling the same way. And the best thing I did was come to this realization. It's not going to hurt anything to just try and implement all of the tips shared here by the letter of the law. I could just try at least. I realized that I was paying an expert to show me the way, and it was actually kind of nice knowing I could follow a blueprint, no questions asked. You're going to be asked to do things you don't want to do, but it really helped when I told myself just to go ahead and try it just for the duration of Race to 10K. And it also helped to have a safety net for myself, and it felt better knowing I could always reevaluate things I was doing afterwards and then decide whether to or not to keep going. Spoiler alert, on the other side of that, all of the tips are coming together like pieces of the puzzle. I know why they're helpful instead of just being told that they are helpful. Each tip builds off another and creates a domino effect for growth. I just had to let my instincts and what I thought was best take a back seat for a little while. This is a great opportunity to be basically inside an influencer's head and without all the trial and error.
That's awesome.
She did it.
Yeah.
She did it and she came out on the other end. And I actually want your take on this because I hear so many people saying, like, I have a lot of hobbies, I have a lot of interests, I don't want to limit myself, so I'm just going to roll with them. And what do you say to that?
Gosh, it's funny because in reality, everyone has a lot of hobbies, everyone has a lot of interests, everyone has a lot of things that they're doing. And so, again, we are all like complex individuals. There's a lot of pieces to us out there. And the point is leaning into one of those things and really honing it and sharing that part of you. I would say the one that you are most drawn to, you're most natural at, you're most passionate about. Lean into that thing And everyone knows that you're a complex person. You don't have to worry that people are going to think this is the only thing that you do. Or even if they do, who cares? Like, my sister's a painter. Her whole Instagram is about her fine art that she does. That's not even her day job, okay? That doesn't matter. This is what she wants to be known for. This is the mark that she's putting on the world. All of those things that you're proud of is what makes you a whole person, and that doesn't dilute your personality. And so by niching down and focusing on what makes you uniquely you, you're going to find your devout following, and people are going to connect with you in that sense, in that vulnerability. One of my favorites on TikTok is this girl named Sam who's lost 250 pounds, and she shares just what she orders from these different like fast food places, and she shows exactly what she orders, how many calories is it, how much protein is it, and she eats it in her car. Am I trying to lose weight? No. But when this comes up to me, I'm like, I know who she is and I know her story. I don't know if she has any kids. I don't know if this is her job. I don't know what her other hobbies are. I guarantee you she has other hobbies. But she is being vulnerable in this one lane in her life, and she's grown a massive following for it. And at this point, if you're reluctant to niche down, ask yourself, what's more important to you? Is it more important for everyone on the internet to know all parts of who you are as an individual, or do you want to be a paid influencer with a massive following? Because that's what we're
Simple as
saying.
that.
That's what we're saying is going to be the result of niching down. So,
Is it kind of nice also to have these parts of your life that you can kind of keep away from? Like, it's your thing. You're not sharing it on the internet for them to comment on.
keep pockets of your life just for you. Privacy is a currency, and there's oftentimes in my life as an influencer, as someone, semi-public, I do feel like I am selling pieces of my life because privacy is currency, and I'm never going to get that back. I'm never going to be able to not be, my house not to be known, or different aspects that I share online not to be known. The internet's forever. So I find great comfort, power, and strength in keeping areas of my life private that are not for sale. And I really encourage influencers, if you're just starting out, decide right now what you're not going to talk about online. And those should be sacred parts of you that are not for sale and are not up for discussion.
And this is such valuable insight because I think when people first start out, they're very gung ho about sharing anything and everything.
Mhm.
And it's probably a lesson you learn along the way of like, okay, I don't want to share about this. I don't want this to be a part of my niche anymore. So for you, as someone who's been in the industry, to say, like, don't start out by sharing anything and everything,
Mhm.
it's impactful.
You have to throw spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. But really, just start with a game plan. And even if you're not just starting out, you can niche down at any time. And like we're just saying, give it a try. I think it's going to work.
I really do. I mean, tested and tried. There is a girl on TikTok who she started out sharing. I wish I knew her name. I want to say it's Caitlin or something like that. She started sharing bagel reviews in New York. Like she was reviewing all the bagel places in New York. And I remember thinking to myself, I wonder what she's going to do like when she's kind of tried them all. But throughout that, she became this very big food influencer. Now, she didn't just start posting about everything. She went from reviewing bagels. Now she has a segment where then she had a segment where she reviewed the top 100 restaurants. Like the top 100 list came out for restaurants in New York, and she reviewed every single one of them. Then when she went through that list, now she's reviewing all of the like small business restaurants in New York. It's evolved
Hmm.
over time. And even as she's like grown and become this big influencer, she's still chosen a niche. She's not just a New York foodie. She's a New York foodie within the bagel niche, the top 100 restaurants niche, and now the small business niche. And I really love to watch that progression happen.
Yeah, what a great example of evolution of a niche. Like, I think some people, maybe the hesitation comes from like, well, I can't do this forever. No, you don't have to do it forever. Start doing it for 6 weeks. And then, maybe that's a year. As you evolve as a person, you can evolve your niche, and
Yeah.
you can pivot there. Oh, I love that example.
I'll share her page. I really love her. And like when we go to New York, we always reference her page of where we should go for dinner and breakfast. Do you think content can be too niche specific?
No, I don't.
I agree.
There's influencers that just play pinball and they have millions of followers. You saw that one, like the highest paid TikTok at one point last year was someone that just like threw bottles of paint down the stairs. Like, come on, guys. Like,
I
it
love
just,
those.
you actually, no, I don't think you can be too niche because you can evolve. Like, do this niche now. This is your niche right now. And as you grow, it can evolve into the next thing.
The folding lady is a great example.
Oh my gosh, I love the folding lady. She just shows how to fold things. Like, imagine. She did not say, my niche is laundry. She didn't say, my niche is organization. My niche is folding. Amazing. And
And
that just goes to show you the more niche down you are, the more carved out of a space you have to explode. I know one account that's a
it.
folding lady. I know about 200 organizing accounts. Couldn't list them off. I
Yeah.
can list off the folding lady.
She's also a great example of looking at this industry, looking at influencers and seeing a hole and being the one to fill it. She said, there's no one out there teaching you how to fold a fitted sheet.
And I'm pretty good at it.
I'll do it. Yeah. I still don't know. I need to practice.
Hey, you know what? If you're not sure what your niche is, that's one way to do it. Is there a hole that you can fill that you enjoy doing? What is something that you do really enjoy doing? What's something that you naturally do in your spare time? Like, those are just options.
Or what's a really fun way to present this? There's a girl in the mastermind, the Avery Cottage. She's really blown up this past year. And she went from posting about her home. She still posts about her home, but now she does it in these like vlog style segments where she'll redo one room at a time. But every part of it is like a vlog. And her account just took off because she niched into the style of content she was sharing.
That's another way to do it for sure. It's like niching into a specific style of content, which is a way to niche down. Niche down, everyone. I'm going to work on niching down myself. Yeah, I've let loose a bit over the past year and I'm ready to get locked in again.
We're all locking in. Take some time this week. Look for more ways to niche down. If you're having a hard time coming up with content ideas, you are having low engagement, your growth is really slow, those are all signs it's time to niche down more. And it doesn't have to mean a huge switch. It can just be a little pivot, a new segment in your content, and look for areas in your industry that need a little more attention and be that resource for your followers. Until then, we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Until next time, follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Good Influencer. And if you're ready to join a whole community of influencers growing organically and getting paid to do what they love, join the Good Influencer Mastermind by visiting our website, good-influencer.com. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.